There is a word so powerful that some early Christians believed it could break spiritual chains instantly. A word preserved not in the Bible, but in a forgotten desert manuscript. And according to the Gnostic text Pistis Sophia, Jesus shared it privately with his closest disciples, not as a prayer, but as a command. In the Egyptian desert, buried for centuries, a collection of texts known today as the Nag Hammadi Library was discovered in 1945. Among them were writings describing a very different understanding of Jesus' mission. In these texts, Mary Magdalene asks a striking question: how can the chosen protect themselves from dark spiritual forces? Jesus' answer was not a ritual, not a long prayer. It was a single word. To understand why that mattered, we need to understand the Gnostic worldview. According to these early Christian mystics, the highest divine source was called the monad, pure, infinite consciousness. The physical world, however, was described as the work of a lesser being, the Demiurge, assisted by forces known as Archons. These Archons were believed to influence the human mind through fear, confusion, and separation. In this view, humanity carries a divine spark, a fragment of the higher source, temporarily trapped in material existence. And Jesus, in Gnostic thought, was not just a moral teacher. He was an awakener, one who came to remind souls of their forgotten origin. When Mary asked how to resist the Archons, Jesus did not teach dependence. He taught authority. The word recorded in certain Aramaic traditions is often rendered as something similar to prak, meaning to break, to sever, to release, not a request, a declaration. In later Greek and Latin translations of exorcism passages, many commands appear softened into phrases like go away or depart. But some scholars argue that the original Aramaic carried a sharper force, an imperative tone. In this interpretation, the word functioned not as a plea to heaven, but as a recognition of divine authority already present within. The Gnostics believed power was not accessed through fear or begging. It was accessed through remembrance, recognition, authority, and alignment. They taught that spiritual forces respond not merely to sound, but to consciousness. The word itself, they claimed, only works when spoken from awareness of one's divine origin. Not as a victim, not as a supplicant, but as a participant in divine reality. Whether one accepts this literally or symbolically, it reveals something profound about early Christian mysticism. There were communities who saw Jesus' message not only as forgiveness, but as awakening, not only salvation, but liberation, not only obedience, but inner authority. For centuries, these texts remained buried in sand. Not because they were universally accepted, but because early Christianity was far more diverse than many realize. Different groups preserved different teachings. Some emphasized hierarchy. Others emphasized direct spiritual knowledge. And when we read these forgotten writings today, we are not just uncovering hidden words. We are rediscovering a forgotten conversation. A question that still matters: is spiritual power something granted from outside, or remembered from within? Perhaps the real mystery is not the word itself, but the state of consciousness from which it is spoken, and whether awakening has always been closer than we thought.